and we are going to be starting up a new talk show series that I wanted to do called The Evolution of Gaming. And, you know, getting into this probably a little bit too heavy. And by that I mean we need to probably start at the very beginning here. Now, I've started at the first world's screen, but I don't want to. So, we're going to do an Evolution of Gaming series today all about Super Mario Brothers. Alright, now I don't have anything enabled for the stream, but this is going to be more of YouTube content anyway. So anyway, what's going on here is that we're going to go through all of the NES and SNES games that are related to Super Mario Brothers today. And have Mario in the title in some way. Alright, so that something is being moved over, the brand name is being used. It's, you know, what we're trying to focus on. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're basically going to, you know, start here, talk about some basic things and how they end up evolving throughout, you know, all of the different games. So, let's go ahead and do that. What we're going to start with is, how do the controls work? Alright, and what is the game? Now, this first is a one-off, right? So what we have here is Super Mario Brothers with Duck Hunt. Now, this was kind of like, it's almost like a record with an A-side and a B-side, you know? Except for these are probably both A-sides, you know? These are both going to be that #1 seller, right? So, you know, neither one of them probably were proven at the time. And this is why they were both put together. It was also probably a way to really highlight the machine, right? Show off the mechanics. Hey, how you doing, Chubby Mouse? I'm trying to do the talk show right now about Super Mario Brothers. And, you know, anyway, so it was probably trying to highlight the mechanics of, you know, the game. And that's why they were put together. So, I mean, but let's go take a look at, you know, besides that, like, what are the initial, you know, buttons? You know, there's only 4 of them, right? But in this time, you would actually, you know, I think A and B does function this initial menu, right? So let's see. No? Oh, yeah, A and B does. But here, up and down is not how you actually affect the 1 and 2 player. That's not what happens. You actually have to press select. You know, so that's the first start of, you know, this evolution in gaming, where you can see that there is like a major difference in what we see today and what happens, you know, when they first made something, when they first conceptualized how is this supposed to work. Alright, and you can't press A or B to get the game to start, so you got to press start. Alright, so here we are, right? You know, so what is it that this game really consists of? And how's this going to evolve into any other games, and what is going to make them different? You know, the game consists of you moving along a track. It's a platformer, right? There's small things that can affect your, you know, we can start seeing like the initial gameplay that they tried to make. They've got, you know, a mushroom for you to get you bigger now. You're going to be able to take 2 hits. You know, they're trying to initiate that. You're maybe collecting coins to get a better score. You know, all of these are things that they initiate in this game, and they're going to evolve throughout all of these different games, except for the ones where they're just using the title. Alright, like maybe like some Mario Math or something, right? So, I mean, let's play this a little bit more before we switch out, and let's see. Okay, so what's the other function? Okay, now, here's something that, you know, is changed as these games evolve. You can't go left. You know, if you ever played that silly little game, I think it was like DLC Quest. It shows you a lot of this evolving of the game because, you know, initially you can't, you know, jump. Initially, and double jump, there's no double jump here. I mean, that's not something that's developed in this game yet, so you can't even go left. Alright, so there's one more limitation that's to this initial game. Jumping does it have movement mechanics in air? It does. It has movement mechanics in air, so there is such a thing as momentum, right? Alright, so, the other thing that we can, you know, elucidate about this game is that the 2 buttons do something. One of them runs, one of them jumps, okay? Now, that's going to be something that does end up developing into, look at this momentum. It is a fixed momentum after a certain period of time, versus, you know, the slow gradation of the momentum in the later games, right? But they do introduce a lot of mechanics that they end up keeping, like this guy here. Now, I thought that you can't you shoot? Oh, I'm pressing the wrong button here. Well, that's not right. But was this not speeding me up? Oh, it wasn't. What an asshole I am. Okay, I was just pressing the wrong button. Okay, so they do have much better momentum, you know, build up. So why don't we just press the right buttons? That'll help us do the game correctly, right? Okay, so let's check out the momentum real quick. All right, they do initiate, you know, this thought process that you are going to, you know, have this fireball. Okay, so momentum seems like it's actually the same throughout a lot of these games. Now we'll check with it as we go on. But okay, so I think besides maybe finishing this level, we kind of have figured out what it is that this game pretty much represents and what it's trying to accomplish. Now you're going to see a lot of the tropes throughout. You know, you're going to keep seeing time up. Okay, yeah. Well, when you're talking about a game, you don't really do it, huh? Now, there's another thing that we can mention, though, and here's a checkpoint, too. Now, these are all things that are going to keep being used as tropes throughout games in general. And, you know, the evolution of this game in and of itself probably helped to spur a lot of that. Likewise, here's something that they kept developing throughout, you know, this idea that, you know, you can go and hit, you know, jump on something and then it creates a, you know, spree where you can go hit more. Now, even in this game, they have it so that you can juggle combos, right? You know, like you can get 100 to 200 points, you know, the more things you hit. You know, later on, you know, you end up getting 1-ups and stuff like that. I don't know if that applies to this game or not. I really don't. It's something where if we were to take a really deep look at these games, that we would probably need to, you know, put that in our repertoire of saying, okay, well, does, you know, did they have the smarts to already make it so that, you know, when you got over 10, you didn't just get 1,000 points again, you got a 1-up? Is this where this evolved from? Was this game pretty much had all of the ideas, they just couldn't implement them? You know, and so the last thing I want to do before we switch games is just, you know, show this. This is like the only thing that, you know, differentiates this from a lot of the games, and some of them end up doing it again, like we'll see in Super Mario Bros. 3. This idea that you run and boom, you hit this, you know, you get a certain amount of points how high you get up. That happens again in Super Mario 3, and I don't know if it really goes anywhere besides that. I mean, we'll just have to see. Now, we'll continue on this for just a second, just to show maybe, you know, okay, so they do have differentiated levels. They've kind of gotten that idea from the get-go. That never wasn't a part of their plan. And, you know, let's see. They do, I couldn't show it, but, you know, you hit that, it'll jump up. Alright, so there is something else that they end up doing, like, I think one of these catches you. No, none of those gets you stuck. I've been playing that, you know, stupid Mario game. Now, here's another thing that I guess I should elucidate, right? Is that... Oh, damn. I actually needed to stay big there. Because if you knew what I was doing, what I planned on doing was showing you that you can actually skip this world by knowing secrets. So they put in these secrets throughout all the games. You'll see in some of the later ones that, you know, there's either the warp whistles or something of that nature that I can show in, or at least talk about in the initial, because I don't know how much time. I mean, look, it's been 10 minutes already, and I know that we have at least 18 games or something in this, you know. Some of them I'll be able to glance over a lot quicker, but some of them, you know, we're going to want to delve even deeper into. Alright, so, you know, here we are. What I wanted to show was, you know, right at that point there, you could have jumped onto that secondary ledge and hit up and then gotten into the ceiling area here. I don't think my cursor is here. So you could even if you were large here, like hit up, walk over, and then jump into the ceiling area. Walk all the way, you'll end up getting to a place that'll let you warp. So this is something that they did do in everything for the Super Mario Brothers that are kind of in this consistent form. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just change the game. We're going to move into another Super Mario Brothers, obviously. And we're going to just go to Super Mario Brothers 2. We're going to see what happened, why it happened, for what I know anyway. And see what the difference is in the game. You know, this is the cornerstone. So what we just showed in this last 10 minutes is the cornerstone for what you can expect when you see a Super Mario game. Alright, so let's just go and... I got a lot of games here. Super Mario Bros. 2. Now, let me real quickly, because I feel like we would be doing something wrong if we didn't go and show off Duck Hunt for half a second. Alright, because these came together, like I was saying, they probably were put together in this kind of weird way, right? And the reason that they were done is because they didn't know which one was going to take off. Not to mention the fact that this Duck Hunt game, you know, if you see this, the cursor, this is actually, you know, supposed to be representative of the little gun thing. I remember using that. It was funny. All right, but let's just show this just for half a moment. So this is actually representative of that gun, even though, you know, it's an emulation, so it's not quite the same, but this is the entirety of what Duck Hunt is. All right. Now this was just a little. This was a little addition they put in to Super Mario Brothers. Which one was better? I don't know. Hey, Nicholas Francis Gaming, how you doing, buddy? Trying to do a game talk show on the Super Mario kind of evolution here. So this was put in as kind of a one-off, just to make sure that maybe they sold the Super. I don't know which was which. Was this the one they wanted to sell with, or was this the one where they were showing off the gun thing that, you know, the NES came with? I don't know. But I felt like we would be remiss if we didn't, you know, at least show for a moment that game before we went on to Super Mario Brothers 2 and showed the differences. And the reasoning why is that with Super Mario Brothers 2, they actually, you know, they probably still weren't sure, is this what we want to go with this? We know we like the character, right? We know the character is exactly, you know, what we're going for. But is the game what we want? Is the gameplay what we want? Do we want the gameplay to develop in that way? And so this is, actually, this game is another game that they ripped off. They applied the Super Mario, you know, makeup to. And I don't know the information enough, which makes me kind of upset because I do want to put this on YouTube kind of for perpetuity purposes, and, you know, people can actually look at it for the information. But all I can say, you can go look up on Super Mario 2 fairly easily. You can find out the information of where this game was basically copy-pasted from. And you'll see that this is not even similar. Not even similar. I often would use Princess because she has a floating mechanic that makes it so that she's different for movement. Now, this is not even similar to the other game. Does it look like it at all? No. It doesn't look like it. You can jump on things' heads if I'm, you know, capable. And you can, and the movement mechanics, everything about it's still a platformer. Only the same thing. Only similarity is that they're both platformers. Now, it's been so long since I played this, okay, so that's how you pick things up. Other button. How do you float again? Ah, you just hold the button afterwards. Alright, see, so now you're seeing that this game is not at all the same. And what this potentially was about was that they weren't sure. They said, okay, well, we like the mythos, right? We got the princess, we got Super Mario, we got this Toadstool character, all of these things were already mixed in. But how do we make sure that we can, you know, sell it? Well, this other game was already selling and people loved it, you know, like nobody's business, right? So why not just go ahead and steal it outright? Well, what does this thing really represent? What's the gameplay here? Well, it's just a platformer. You're moving from one edge to the other side. So is it the same game? Well, no, not really. You know, this is kind of a mechanic that ends up occurring for, you know, killing things, you know, a mechanic you don't really ever see again. A lot of these mechanics are things that, you know, is the throwing mechanic something that occurs in Mario? Do you ever pick anything up in Mario like this except for in Super Mario 2? I don't think so. I don't think you ever pick anything. No, you always kick things, right? You never are picking things up. Okay, so, you know, what you're seeing is that, and, oh, if I pressed the button correctly, I would have floated over. But what you're seeing is a game that is entirely different from, you know, Super Mario in almost every single way. Now, this is, for the reasons I said, they still probably weren't sure about, you know, whether or not this was where they wanted to go with it. Where should they be going? They probably just didn't have a good clue. I mean, look, this has a heart function. You have hearts that, you know, you can collect to get yourself bigger. You don't collect like mushrooms, I don't think, in this at all. So, you know, a lot of things were trying to be affected and changed in this version. And for the better, probably not. You know, this may have almost sunk Mario if it wasn't for the fact that they just knew that it was... You know, here's another thing. You can press down to jump higher. Now, see, this is something that was probably part of the other game, right? That's probably why it's here. So, Alright, so what you're seeing, you know, and I don't really like this game too much, even though I did play quite a bit of it, you know, when I was younger. Like, I know this next part, you know, you go over here, and then you jump here. When you go up here, there's something that you go over to the side, you get to... See, like, here's something, another pathway. Here's something that I guess was incorporated, but it's from another game, entirely. But it's been transmuted over to this game, right? But, you know, just the cosmetics. This is just makeup on another game. But this game, you know, did have some interesting things to it, and one of those interesting things is, you know, that this was a whole other pathway you just wouldn't see if you just were unaware. Oh, this is the way I go. Okay, there's the door. But, you know, here's this whole other pathway that you could potentially go to, you know, and I don't know. It just seems like this game, I can see why they wanted to do it, right? And here's, like, new mechanics. These mechanics never existed. A bomb? Bomb mechanics never existed. Timing mechanics? I mean, all of these are just from this game. So, you know, this is kind of a one-off for Mario. But not really. We'll see if we get it to Dr. Mario and some of those other ones. They like to apply this makeup. They like to apply the Mario makeup to something and sell more of it. So let's keep moving. You know, I think that I should, you know, I'd be a little remiss if I didn't, like, include a little bit more about the gameplay of what happens here. So, as you move throughout this level, like, I don't know if I have the, you know, expanse to even care about trying to do it, but as you go throughout the level, what ends up happening is you go to these different, like, opening mouth things, and you walk into those, they're like these eagles, right, or something. And, you know, usually before them, there's this odd-looking dinosaur that shoots eggs at you. You jump on top of the eggs, pick them up, and you throw them at them. Again, all of these mechanics are only from this game. You know, these continuum mechanics, simple things like that. Let me, one real quick thing. Let's see whether or not A and B, no, A and B still don't do anything in this screen. It's only, oh, no, A and B does something in this screen. But the initial screen, you had to press start. So that's very strange. See, A and B, A and B, A and B. You can hear it. I'm smashing it. Start. Now, you don't have to press start here. You can press A or B. Very odd. Okay, see, so there's some of this incorporation of, like, let's make it so that certain buttons don't do certain functions. It's not as important, which is good. Yeah, so finally, you know, just the last word on this. The final bosses are kind of just the same thing as a little dinosaur that shoots eggs out of its mouth, right? They have, like, they have areas where they have, like, what am I trying to say? Blocks or something that you can pick up and then throw at the creatures. So you can attack them, again, by throwing. All of this attack is by throwing. Very odd. Nothing to do with Super Mario. And it's because the game was transmuted from this other one. So, let's go ahead. We're going to go to the next Super Mario, and I think that is Super Mario 3. Now, we could start to go into some of these other ones. I see Mario is missing. I know that I'm not doing this chronologically, I don't believe, you know. But let's go ahead and, you know, see a couple of these other weird games that shouldn't have existed, right? Mario is missing. What is Mario is missing? It's got the Mario cosmetic on it. It's pretty much what it has going for it only, probably. So let's find out. Mario is missing. Probably not going to play this game very much. We're just going to see what this is, why they applied this cosmetic sheen to it. Alright. So something's happening, you know. Okay, it's Luigi's turn, huh? Did I click off? Did I click over here or something? That's why. Alright, well, sweet baby. Sweet baby Jesus. Okay, start. Alright, so this looks like it's probably... Hey, Daryl Bolin, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for coming in and checking us out. Trying to do a Super Mario evolution in gaming here. Now, what we're at, because we've done Super Mario 1 and 2, is we're looking at just some randoms, and this is Mario is missing. What it is, I don't know. I don't know. It looks like it's just a cosmetic sheen of Mario with the same engine, with some... I don't know what the gameplay is going to be. I mean, we're going to try and see for a very limited amount. Okay. It's something... Oh, it's this game. Now, I've seen this a little bit, but this is something very strange. I know that this is a very odd game. So what we have here is we have the same engine, the same sheen, everything like that. This guy just walked by me. Can I not jump on him? I got money for that? It's like, huh? A fax from the mail. Welcome to our city. Just in time. A horde of horrid Koopas have been looting our landmarks and we need your help. What's the Yoshi up on top for? So you can see here that this is probably pretty obviously just like, I don't understand what where the gameplay is. That's obviously, boom, cosmetic sheen. Let's just put on Mario. Let's make it. Let's not even. You want to go find out more about this game? Go find out more about it. I'm not going to be the one that does it for you. We're trying to, you know, really see how the Super Mario series developed, and I'm willing to go look at these little one-offs for a second, but for the most part, I want to, you know, we're going to do one more one-off real quick. I want to just get the other one out of the way before we get into Super Mario 3, which I know is going to be a little bit meatier for, you know, explanation purposes. Alright, here's the one other one-off we're going to do. Mario's Time Machine. I think this is some kind of silly, another 93-94. You can see that they were trying to take advantage of another Softwork Toolworks. Alright, so this seems like this was the same company. Maybe they bought the license or something. Who knows? Ooh. Another... Using the engine for a game completely unrelated. Yeah, this one, I played this for half a second the other day, and it's even weirder. It's just, I don't know where the gameplay lies, but yeah, it's so weird. Like, all of the things that should matter, they just don't. Like, what was that? Alright, so another cosmetic, this is probably like an edutainment, right? Let's ignore it. Let's ignore it. If you need to go look up more about Mario's Time Machine, this is another one of those cosmetic, ooh, here you go, there it is. So I'm going to go put on Super Mario 3. We'll see where the actual Mario continued to develop. You know, but you can see that when there's something good, they want to squeeze every dime out of it. And whatever that company was that made this, you can see that they were the ones that probably said, ooh, well, let's take advantage of the Mario, you know, cult that's happening right now, and I don't know if they made money on it. Who knows? Maybe. Okay, Super Mario 3. So, this is the iconic one that I think a lot of people played when they were younger, right? Super Mario 1, you might have played. You probably didn't beat. You learned maybe about that first warp whistle area right there where you could jump up like I was showing earlier. But this is the iconic one. This is the one where I think a lot of people will say, okay, well, I can remember this. I can, you know, I remember where those warp whistles are behind, you know, the rocks in the first area, you know, or in the second area, and, you know, they'll know this. All right, so first things first, still up and down, do not make it so you can go to 1 and 2 player. That is only select. Now, it's funny, my sticky keys is like freaking out here. So, do A and B do not start it yet either. So, I mean, these are like simple UI things that seem like they probably should have been incorporated at this point, right? So, start is the way you start. I guess it makes sense, right? But even in the other one, the start screen, you couldn't press any button. Is that like to stop kids or something? Who knows? Alright, so I think this is the first time where you have an overworld. We've only seen 3 Mario games. Both before didn't have an overworld. So here we are. We're at one game that has started and we have an overworld screen. So this is the first time we've seen this. This is Super Mario 3. Alright, so we have an overworld screen, and it looks like we have branching decision making. You do not always have to make the same decision. Okay, so that's another thing that's very interesting. The gameplay has returned to the Super Mario 1 version of gameplay, right? So we have, but the mushroom has changed in the consistency and the look. It looks almost more cartoony and more fun. We also now have a bar for our momentum when we're running. All of these are brand new. None of these are, you know, this is all new hat, man. None of this is old stuff. Something new we're gonna find too is this sweet little baby here, if I can get to it. And this is, you know, initiating that there's more than just the fireball, which I don't believe there was in Super Mario 1, right? So let's try and get all these done, and I'll just show, you know, because I'm not using a gamepad, so it's a little bit more awkward. Now, when you're actually at full momentum, that piece starts going, it makes it so that a whole list of other things can potentially be used, right? I think the biggest one, obviously, is that there. Is it in this one that you can... It's not in this one that you can do the cape thing. It's in the Super Nintendo one. So they do keep working on that same idea as time progresses, and this is the first time I think that we've seen one-ups. I don't know if those existed in the other game, in Super Mario 1. We didn't get that far. But I mean, they're obviously showing you they exist here. As well as interesting things like you can jump, you can get that flight, but only if you do that first little run. They also start to incorporate weird things like this. You know, this is a complete secret. Secrets did exist in the other one. I think that they were a little bit harder, though. That was in the Nintendo, you know, gaming era, where you had to go get the magazine, right? And then they would be okay with you knowing their secret. So, we'll play a little bit more through this one. This isn't the level, right, where you... No, it's the second... Yeah, it's the second level where you get the warp whistle. Oh! This is a problem about not having an actual gamepad. You know, I can't do quick movements here. But anyway, let's see. Like, did they their last the last plants? Did they shoot? I don't know. I don't think they did. So I mean, there's a new development as well. Also, if you saw, there was AI introduced. We didn't test that on Super Mario 1, but there was AI introduced that said if you hit this over here, then the mushroom goes this way, and if you hit it on the other side, the mushroom goes the other way, right? So that's something. That's new AI, you know, that you could potentially point to. It's not here that you press down and you go into the white thing here, right? No, it's in. It is here. Oh, it is here. Okay. So this is another one of those secrets that you probably everybody learns, right? And what this does is it gets you one of the warp whistles, unless it doesn't. Why am I not behind this stuff anymore? Yeah, and I'm having a little bit of issues with my momentum running and jumping because I'm not using a gamepad. So it's a little bit awkward, but I'm doing this mostly for talk show related purposes, so... Yeah, what was it that does? I forget. I'm pretty sure that the warp whistle's in the second one. Last thing that we can say about this game is that it introduces a new mechanic for gaining things, or for, you know, something good to do at the end, instead of it being, you know, the jump along the ladder thing, right? What you do is, as long as you're running at full momentum and you jump in, you always get a star. Otherwise, you know, different momentum speeds will get you either the flower or the mushroom, and 3 mushrooms only give you 1 life. 3 stars give you, or 3 flowers give you 3, and 5 stars give you 5 lives. So, you know, there's some onus on you to do it if you want to try to actually finish the game. Now, the other thing that we could see here, if we were to go back to the overworld, is that, I'll try to beat this one real quick, just so that we have a little bit more going on here. But if we were to go back to the overworld, you would see also that there is, and we'll go to it, I don't really need to beat this to show off more of the game. But anyway, there's a couple new things that they did introduce here. They introduced these mushroom houses. Well, what those mushroom houses do is they make it so you can choose between 3 chests, and in one of those 3 chests, you get some valuable thing. Now, some of them have it so that there's more valuable things in one side over the other. You know, otherwise you might just get a mushroom, you might get a star, and there is... Let's see, if it's select... Oh, is it because I have nothing? Oh, okay. So one of these, it looks like A. Flips it, so it shows all your items too. Now this is something new. Having items that you can build up and use over time. That's a brand new idea and quality that, you know, Super Mario 3 kind of elicits. Now the other things that we can kind of elucidate here, this is, you know, kind of a game mechanic where you're matching. I believe this is the match 3. They have a couple different mini-games. This is maybe the first introduction of mini-games within a game, and most of them are give you more life, give you a small item or something. You know, like this guy is a mini-game basically as well. All he is a couple of hammer thrower guys that you need to go kill. And usually they make it fairly easy on you. They start on two, platform ledges, and, you just got to go and knock up, and then they die, right? And then you get an item out of that. So, I mean, several different mini-games not related to the platformer, which the game really is. Alright, so I think that that's actually a pretty good elucidation of what's happening here. Aside from that, we've got some really basic stuff in the castles where you're moving through a series of platforms till you get to the end and you gotta jump on somebody's head 3 times. Nothing special or new about that. Same thing with the castle, except for you're on a odd ship-looking thing that auto-scrolls for you. So, tiny derivations that we're seeing, alright? Besides that, there is a plethora of different worlds, just like in Super Mario 1, if you were to play through it more, which we didn't. You'll see that there's a lot more item structure going on here, and the fact that you have the items that you can keep. There's items that make it so that you can fly through levels, things like that. There's a lot of different stuff. There's even like a froggy guy here where you can swim faster through water, because they have a water, whole world, right? Because there's 9 worlds in even Super Mario, I believe, the first one. So, I mean, it's the exact same game, made better. Here you are. Here's a better version. So, let's see if there's any more one-offs that we need to look at within the Nintendo sphere before we move into Super Nintendo. Because I don't mind moving through this quick. It makes for a cleaner, YouTube video. So, if we can get through these, get the idea, I can explain some of the functions, what's new about it that I know, having played the game, then, I don't mind that at all. We don't need to sit and play each game for a half hour to kind of get a good idea of what the game is. We can see a lot of the differences fairly right away, I think. Alright, so it looks like Super Mario Bros. 3 may be the end of that. So we may be moving on already to SNES, which is just fine with me. May take half a second to get it righted for the broadcast, but that's no big deal. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, we'll just click this out, and we're going to go ahead and transfer over to the SNES. And in the SNES, it looks like we have a total of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. All of them actually good. 8 games. All of them really good. This is where we've got the cosmetic that was the Mario being applied very well. So let's go ahead and let's start off with Super Mario World. I'm guessing that's the initial. Okay. Now I'm going to go and have to do 1 or 2 things over here to make sure that I have it actually captured. Let's go ahead and go capture here. Let's take a look at properties. It says SNES, but I know it's not doing it. So let's do this. Okay. Ah, there it is. It's right there. It's hiding. We just need to edit a little bit. Put it over here. Get it like that, and bam. Okay. So here we are, Super Mario World. I'm not sure what the buttons are here. I'll find out in a second. They have them auto-programmed, right? My gamepad's a little off. Alright, so Super Mario World is the iconic next, right? We've got Super Mario 3, moves directly to Super Mario World. This is the SNES version of Super Mario Brothers. And it's a good version of Super Mario Brothers. Okay, so, first thing we're seeing, much better graphics, obviously. I mean, no doubt. Rounded edges a lot better, even a little bit more color happening here. Okay, so, and a start with a storyline. Storyline starts out right away. Instead of you just being tossed in expecting another storyline, it starts to actually have something that's, it's developed. It's the same game 3 times in a row. It better fucking be developed, right? If you ask me, it's the same game 3 times in a row. Alright, so, again, branching paths. Now, there's even more in this game, and we'll go and try and beat, at least this level to go show that. But there's even more in this game. There's also, areas that have very little to no meaning. They do have meaning later on once you get Yoshi, right? But right now, oh, and let's see what all of my buttons do here. Alright, well that's my jump. That's my weird jump. Where are my other buttons? I may have to go and write that with the config real quick. So let me go do that, make sure I know where all my damn buttons are. Z, X, S, and A is what you decided to do, and D and C. Okay, well that's fine. I can work with that. It's not like I'm trying to play this game or speedrun it right now. So alright. So there's my run. What is A? A is my nothing. Okay, fine. Now, here's something that can be said about this game. Oh, Greasy wins it for life. How you doing, buddy? Thanks for coming in and checking us out here. Well, we're already at Super Mario 3, so you've missed all of the NES portion of the show. But anyway, what we're seeing here is, you know, a little bit different than Super Mario 3, right? What we have now is, yeah, how you doing, Greasy? What we have now is a just automatic, you know, here we are. We're running. It tells you that you're running faster by the fact that, you know, there's sounds initiated with it, as well as other things, but there's no more bar for momentum. There used to be a bar. They decided that's not important. So let's go look at the actual gameplay. Alright, first off, the gameplay is much different on a base level because you have 4 buttons. They can do more things with 4 buttons, okay? It looks like it's still pretty much momentum and jumping, right? It's all momentum and then jumping. Not much going, but look, even the jumps have different animations now. Something like this where you have to press down now. We didn't get to see that because we didn't have to, right? Twitch is just live YouTube. Yeah, it is, dude. No spamming in stream. Don't worry about it. Anyway, so what's really happening here is, you know, a lot of different new functions that you don't see in Super Mario. All right. So, like that, for instance, that's a new kind of, you know, jump. There's ducking all of a sudden now. There's even planes that aren't, you know, on a normal, what am I trying to say? A horizontal sphere. So, hot and spicy wins it. Hey, how you doing, buddy? So, a lot of things are happening that you couldn't have happen in the other games. You know, it's funny, I've never been in this, you know, particular level this many times, so I've never seen, or that area that many times. I've always moved past it. But they do have that, you know, a rotating, a bullet just keeps coming. I didn't realize that. Because you always move past it, so you don't see, right? So, new things about this one. Okay, well, first off, new sprites. You know, double hitting something, jumping on something twice is goddamn brand new, right? You know, a lot of... They're showing off their angles right away. Super Mario seems to do this, and if you were watching earlier, you would have seen that they are showing off their angles right away. They're so happy that they've got these new things here. Look at these angles. They're so excited. And the coins. Alright, so here's another thing. The coins, right? You collect 5 of those, you get a 1-up, I think, is how they end up doing it for these levels. The flowers, even, they've got new flowers that, you know, will jump up, and instead of just spitting. And I think they still have the spitting ones even in this one, right? And here's a new thing that, you know, well, how do I do this? I can't do this with the 2 buttons because I just have jump and run, but that's why they decided to throw this in here. I'm not big enough, it looks like, and you wouldn't know that if you hadn't played the game. Now, I've played the game plenty of times, so I know if you're bigger that that'll actually smash through there, and you can go into, you know, a secret area. It's not really that secret, but there is a lot of secrets in here that were not anywhere in the other games. And look, this is also like a super power attack, it looks like, because it only took 1 jump versus the 2 earlier. So what we're seeing is a lot, and I mean a lot of different functions that we weren't seeing before. Checkpoints that you can actually recognize. They showed you a checkpoint. This thing that you're like, well, what is this? Why can't I affect that? Well, you know, that's why we're beating this particular level, so I can show that there's a new mechanic completely, you know, in here, where you can actually jump on a button, and it makes it so there's a bunch of, you know, these these colored tiles that are now filled in. Whether they're filled in like this, where they're just going to give you a mushroom, or they're going to give you a flower, or whatever it's going to be for this, you know, it's definitely, it's got a lot of differences. Also, this point of advice thing, something, you know, that's really new, and it's kind of cool, but it's definitely new for the time, right? There's no, what am I trying to say? There's no, like, key mapping. You can't go and say, okay, well, if I'm going to go hover over this, it's going to tell me what to do. Well, that didn't happen back then. That's just not how it worked. So, it's a completely different form. And an interesting one. You know, to say, okay, well, what's the even point of advice? You can hold the extra item in the box at the top of the screen. So it's very basic, and it's just, it's good stuff. It's that UI interface starting to develop, and you're starting to see this evolution of how these things work, man. You know, it's very interesting. But yeah, I appreciate you guys coming in, even though it looks like 3 trolls. It's cool. It's mostly YouTube content we're doing now, so I'm fine with the stream not being too heavy laid. So, you know, and they're showing off angles like crazy, right? Oh, and you know, there's something too that you may have thought, oh, well, can I even do that? And these 4 buttons, the way they have them mapped right now, is hard as shit to run. Didn't really get to show off the, you know, fact that you're supposed to duck under that. But yeah, see, these 4 buttons are mapped odd. Oh, they're so odd. I need to get I've got plenty of Xbox 360 controllers, so I need to just get one of those bad boys, you know, with a USB connection. Oh, well, you're not going to be able to duck under that. So anyway, we've seen some really basic stuff about this. I'll probably go run through it again and actually try to pay attention while I'm doing it. But, you know, even then I can just elucidate more of, you know, the differences. Because there are a lot of differences in this game, Super Mario 1 and Super Mario 3. And Super Mario 2, yeah, you can just throw out the fucking window, right? Probably Super Mario 3 is my favorite. If you're talking about me, that's definitely wrong, Greasy. Anyway, so you can see a huge sea change from Super Mario 1, where they're trying to put it down, they're trying to get it in a grid so that it's okay, so it makes sense to them, right? Versus this, you know, where they've got a good idea of what it is they're trying to do. Except for the NES, you know, emulator people, the fact that they, you know, map things like this is crazy sauce. It's crazy sauce. I don't, like, oh man, it's so awkward. It's so awkward. But, you know, also things like this didn't even exist before. That right there. You know, a place where you would hide from, you know, a moving thing, you know, that just wasn't there in Super Mario 1 or Super Mario 3. So, I don't know, it's fairly interesting, you know, and save data. If I had beaten anything, which we didn't see because I'm too busy fucking talking, right? You know, there is save data that is available. Now, was that available in Super Mario 3? No, it wasn't. It's not available in Super Mario 3. You have to beat the whole game in one go. There's no save data. So, now let's let this fucker run into me because of this mapping. Makes it so that I don't know how. It's like, it's mapped right now to S and Z. So, move fast, S, Z is your jump, and you're just like, huh? What the fuck do I press? What do I press? I gotta get this bad boy just so I don't die right away. So I'm going to get through this, you know, real quick. But, you know, again, it's a good thing just to see, you know, an elucidation of, you know, kind of the new sprites that they've decided to do. Something like that. I was running at full speed, and because I was running at full speed, this, you know, secret inside of the, bush, you know, came out. And here I can elucidate this too. See, now that I'm larger, I can actually break through that, right? So, a lot of different things happening in this game. A lot. That weren't happening in the previous games. Including that they have 4 buttons, so the mapping throws... Oh, see, something like that. You get tossed out of... that didn't happen in any of the other games, where you get tossed out of a tunnel like that. That's interesting, see? Little things that everything's starting to develop, and you can see it. And they even have developed a better sense about, you know, what they should be using their IP for. Because you'll see all of these, and here, I can finally show that off. You can see that all of these games that we're going to be showing, you know, from now on are, and see what I was talking about where you're not picking anything up? You don't pick anything up as Mario, you know, most of the time to be killing things. That's why Mario 2 was so off. It was such a weird thing. Shit, I don't know where I was saying, but you're gonna see that they decided to use the IP a lot better. Because instead of having it be... Oh, and this weird guy, right? Okay, now, there's that bar, though, from Super Mario 1, right? There's that bar again, where if you get it higher, you get the higher score. So, let's show off the button, then we'll go move on to some of these other IPs that they use this for, and you can see that all of the games have a lot more going for them Mario is missing. Or these edutainment games, where they decided to use the IP just for fucking whatever, man. Whatever the fuck they used it for. It was stupid. Yeah, I can't wait to stop playing this game. Oh, I could have just highlighted the fact that you can pick up, you know, shells in this one, which is new. And this whole thing where they give you coins, 100 coins will get you lives. Now, we're not playing this, so it doesn't really matter. What I wanted to show was this portion where what this does is, you know, boom, you can read it yourself, right? Switch palace. It makes all those things so that the switches are there. You either can get mushrooms out of them or they create bridges. There's several of these switches throughout. There's a couple other secret things. All of it, you know, is brand new. This one also is brand new because it has an entire, instead of having it, you know, well, there was a overview map in Super Mario 3, right? So that's the first time we saw that. But this is the first time where there are major branches off of that overview map. You don't have to just go do. Now, there were ones in Super Mario 3 even where they try to tuck it around and under, right? But, you know, here, there's a secret from... I'm going to use my mouse pointer to kind of show... Oh, I can't do it in the SNES simulator. Well, it's fine with me. But anyway, there's a secret that, you know, is next to that little haunted house there that if you go around, you can go to the star, you know, fucking road, and then you can get to the boss without having to go through all of the levels. It's kind of like the Warp Whistles. So, I mean, there's a lot going on. There's extra secrets if you beat the levels in different ways. So there's a lot going on in this game that was not going on in the other games. Not like extra levels you could play if you beat this level differently, kind of. That happened at all? It did in Super Mario 3 a little bit when you're... No, that's this game. No, that's this game that happens. So, no, this is the first time it feels like they developed that real interesting extra secret levels. If you beat the game with this, they also have keys in this one that you can pick up and then move to certain blocks, and it'll change, you know, whether or not you go up that normal path that you're seeing there, or whether it lets you go into the water over here and then over to that ghost house, right? So there's a lot going on. Now, let's go ahead and we're going to go to our next, you know, Super Mario game, which is going to be, let's go, just for completionist's sake, we'll go look at Super Mario All-Stars real quick. And all this is the first HD remaster of something. Alright? It's all of the Super Mario games, you know, and it looks like some lost levels too. Super fun, right? Okay. And the Super Mario World. So I mean, let's go see an HD, like, actually like an HD. Is it better looking? It's a little bit better looking, isn't it? It's an HD remaster. It's very funny. The first one you'll ever see. You know, probably. They probably did some other ones, but it's very interesting that this is the first, like, true... Look at how much better it looks. Now, this is the one I remember playing a lot more than the one on NES, right? Because this is the one probably that you just had more access to. But look at how much better it looks than it did before. Interesting. Very interesting. Hey, Raymind, how you doing? Unfortunately, you're catching us real late into, you know, this evolution of gaming for the Super Mario, but, you know, stick around. We're basically getting into the IPs after Super Mario 3 and seeing this is the first HD remaster that, you know, probably ever existed in real time, right? The Super Mario World. And very interesting. I'm just going to do a soft reset. We'll go to the other games and just go see how much of a... It's amazing, the difference. between, you know, what we showed earlier with the NES games. You know, like you can go, if when this is on YouTube, you can just go and rewind it back and go look at the NES games versus these ones, right? And you'll see that, like, let's go to Super Mario 2. It looked like garbage before. It's still probably going to look bad. It's not really. It's a little cleaner. Some of the functions are a little cleaner. That had color in it instead of the other way. This is a lot different looking though. Oh yeah, no, this is an HD remaster. It's very funny to see. You know, because I was like looking at the Resident Evil HD remaster, and that's beautiful, right? But this must have been amazing to them when they first remastered it. I bet all of those are moving twice as many times and stuff. It's very interesting. Very interesting. And like I said before, this is when the IP started. Oh no, there's a couple people watching Rainmind, I think. But maybe Chatty's fucking, you know, off on its own tangent. I don't really care. Yeah, it's more for YouTube. But anyway, it's interesting because, you know, you can see that the IP was really used well after this. They're like, we're not giving it any crap. So let's go and show you one of those really good, you know, games that came out of this Super Mario World, right? Super Mario Kart. Now, if you don't remember this game and you didn't play it, well, I feel bad for you a little bit. Because this is some sweet, sweet shit. Alright. Oh, okay, here's something else to be said that was not happening in previous games. The A and B now does forward and back for selections. Does Start also do it? Start also does do it now, still. But before, remember, it was select. Up and down now does this, not only select, and A and B now go yes or no. Forward, see, that's back, that was a back. I press A now, it says forward. Okay, you want one player? Fine. You know, you press B a bunch of times, okay, you're back to nothing, right? You can press start to do it too. Just interesting that it took this long. I didn't check with Super Mario World. I almost want to go back and look whether Super Mario World allowed you to press A and B to start the game. So let's go ahead and check out, you know, this game a little bit more. You can't press, that was B, so that, and this is probably the first development of, you know, even the idea of a forward back button, like what we see in every web browser nowadays. So, I mean, there's a couple different ones, time trial, Mario Kart. Now, this is just a really great game. There's a lot about this game out there, you know. This is just using that Super Mario sheen, but they probably, you know, had the idea of the Super Mario, you know, cosmetic being put on there all throughout. And it's a good game in and of itself. I'll show you just a tiny bit of it. These are different levels of, you know, how good you are. Basically, even though we're in 50cc, I guess actually you have to beat all these to get into 100cc to get into 150cc, right? So, I mean, we'll show this for just half a second. Doesn't matter. Lot going on here though, and it's a really good use of the IP. And if we can bust out the rest of these, we might be able to keep this under an hour and make sure it doesn't get split up on YouTube, which would be great. So, what we're seeing here is, you know, just a different game. It's nothing to do with Super Mario except for the cosmetic, right? But it's a really good game compared to the ones we were seeing earlier on NES. So that's the difference. That's the major difference that you're going to find, is that this is an amazing game versus, you know, Mario is missing. Alright, so they've decided that this is an IP worth its fucking weight, right? So they're no longer going to be putting out crappy games. Alright, there's a lot going on in this game that if you don't know anything about it, you should play. It's a fun game for, you know, a couple of people to play. You know, it's only a two-player game because that's how all consoles work then. If we were to make this an evolution of gaming series that went on into N64 and went on into other games, we most certainly would show off, again, Super Mario Brothers, or Super Mario Kart, as it continued to develop. And, you know, you would see that this, in and of itself, became a huge thing, mostly on the back of probably Super Mario, though. Or, you know, was it the other way around? No, it wasn't. This was always a secondary factor to the Super Mario 3. Okay, so, wonderful IP that they used it, you know. Alright, let's go ahead and go to another one. They've just decided to do, you know, let's see, what do we have here? We've got Super Mario World a couple of times. Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. Alright, we'll go to that first before we go to a little stronger one. Now, I think that this one isn't so great. I didn't play it myself. I thought it was kind of babyish when they made it. And I almost still hold that. Alright, but it's Super Mario 2, right? But it's Yoshi's Island. So this is a complete, like, Yoshi thing. This is all Yoshi all day long, right? Maybe people really dig this. Never became my, jam, right? You got Baby Mario and stuff. So they're still using the IP. They're still using the ideas behind the Mario, stuff. They're just using a spin-off character in Yoshi. And that's cool. That's fine. Don't know even what this game is. I know a lot of people play it. I've seen it even speed run. So people do dig this game. It's never been something that I've been interested in. I'm trying to just get to some gameplay. You can see what I mean when I say it's babyish, Look, this is how long it took to get to gameplay. There's still... Welcome to Yoshi's Island. Well, welcome to, letting me do something. Mario falls off your back, it reaches zero, Kamex Toadies will kidnap Baby Mario. See, something about that. See, this is one of those ones where I know that this went well. I know that this did well. It's weird, man. So it's the four button thing that I'm having problems with. But okay, forget it. I know this did well. You want more information on this? This is another IP that they ended up using it for. Obviously, they didn't use the Super Mario as the main function, right? Because they got the little weird baby Mario, right? So I know that it was said to be lauded as good. It didn't strike me the same way it might have struck other people. I don't know how to play it though, so that's probably half of it, right? Alright, so let's just see comparatively. I didn't really jump on their heads. Also, the differentiation between, I didn't even know this was not part of, or this was part of the land I could go on. Kinda weird. What is this? I mean, they're still using the blocks, right? What was the point of that? To get just a couple more points? Alright, so you can see why I never played this myself. Okay, so by holding B down, you can hover in the air. Now, you can see that they are using the same ideas from their last IPs, right? What does IP mean? Is it... I don't know. I think I'm using that wrong. It makes me feel like I'm using it wrong, because I don't know what it's supposed to mean. I know it's supposed to mean, the valued asset of, the game itself, right, and the ideas behind... I don't know. So we'll stop using that word. It just sounds wrong to me. Alright, so they are using the same ideas from previous games, right? Of advice bubbles. Nothing too special about that. It's an intelligent way to get across what's happening. If you ask me, this game is very babyish, and that's why I don't think it hit as many people as it could have. Alright, so that's enough of Yoshi's Island 2. I didn't comment much about it. Let's look at it just for half a second more. Okay, it has an overworld, even a very basic one. It does have one. Don't understand the overworld. The entirety of it seems like it was made kind of offhand by somebody who doesn't care as much about the Mario, label as Nintendo should. But maybe it's just made in a babyish kind of way. Yeah, I don't know. Gather 5 for 1 of. Okay, so it looks almost like a clone, but with a couple different dynamics, and this is where you start to get the dynamics that N64 started to make, right? Where everything changed incredibly. But the dynamics are a little bit different. I'm so confused. And also, health is different in this, right? Health is based on that timer of 10 seconds. Very weird. It's a very weird game. Alright, so, this is... I can't say that much good about it. I can't talk about it too much without having to play through it and like say, okay, how is this game different from, you know, the previous ones, the Super Mario 3, the Super Mario World. It looks like it's a clone on most levels of Super Mario World, with a couple tiny different dynamics of, you know, floating and movement. Whether or not, you know, that makes it good on its own rights, I don't know. It's not something that ever approached me as very good, but it's probably a worthy use of the IP. They probably made a good amount of money. Now let's go to some of the ones that I found that I really did like that were very worthy uses of the IP in my mind. And that's definitely Tetris and Dr. Mario and Super Mario RPG Legend. Now, Super Mario Kart, like I said, I thought that was great. But what we're going to do is we're going to go look at Super Mario... what is this? This is RPG. Okay, so here, again, it's cosmetic. They've applied the makeup to an RPG, right? But it works really well, and the way they did it, the way they made everything work in-game is actually very intelligent. Alright. Now, I don't have, unfortunately, I played through this before, but I don't have any save file here, so, oh, new game. That's funny. Anything, baby. Double A. Alcoholics Anonymous. So we're going to see a whole new movement pattern, whole new function. Everything is not platform. This is an RPG with the cosmetics, but it's a good one again. It's something where they didn't allow it to go to a party that was going to do it incorrectly. And we're at 1 hour right now. I'm going to try and cut this in before an hour 15, but we're at an hour now, and I think that that's okay still. And I can show a little bit of this and a little bit of Dr. Mario as good IPs without IPC. Yeah, I don't know what. I think people say that, and I understand. You know, see, it's like you register a word with a meaning, but you know, I don't know. It doesn't seem right. Okay, so this is just a tutorial. It'll show us enough of the gameplay, though. And what this is basically Super Mario's JRPG. But still a lot of the functions are the same. I can run faster with one button. I can jump. So they're trying not to completely remove you from that platform element. See, like I can run past these guys instead of fight them. Oh. You know, so, you know, there's still a little bit of ideas. Okay, but here, it's a JRPG. You see, you've got different things, you've got items, you've got specials, all of it's JRPG. JRPG all the way with cosmetic sheen of Mario. But it's done well. And it does introduce some even nice things in JRPGs, or what JRPGs have done before. Maybe they haven't done it before, but the idea that you press A while attacking to do a double attack. You know, that's cool. A lot of those are cool things, you know. Even the specials here, you know, like you press, when you're about to hit, you press the Y again, you're supposed to like jump several times, you know, if you do it at the right time. Maybe you need the exact special to be able to do it. But you're seeing a good game, well put together, well thought out, with actually some platform elements, interestingly enough, even in their simple nature. That you will find some platform elements occurring, which is interesting. But, you know, they use some of the same tropes, but then instead of holding the trope of Bowser being the bad guy, they end up making someone else the bad guy and Bowser on your team, which is interesting, you know. So it's not, I don't know, it's just it's a good RPG, it's a good game, it has value. Alright, I can't talk bad about it. You want me to talk about it? I just can't. It's a good game. They used Super Mario, what it represents, fairly well in this. They didn't allow it to go, you know, south at all. This is all just tutorial stuff. You get into the game where you actually level up. It's very much like a JRPG. And you get different characters you can use. You can decide not to use some. You can decide to use others. You can decide to level up some. You can decide what your best, you know, layout is. You only get 3 at a time. You know, just like every JRPG. So, I mean, not much more to be said. You can play through the game, you can understand it yourself. I think it was a good use of the IP. I think that the Super Mario and what Super Mario was died at Super Mario World. It was trying to be translated a little bit in the Yoshi's 2, but I don't think that it did. I don't think that it did, at least not for me. And that's the last time we saw Super Mario in this form, in this 2D form. After that, we go into N64. We start to get into the 3D form and what it all looks like. How am I supposed to be tapping the chain? Okay, so let's go ahead. We're gonna move to the last game, and the last game is Tetris and Dr. Mario. Now, this was 1987, so this was done pretty much in the same wheelhouse as all of the other Marios. RPG Mario, I think, came a little bit later. I didn't take a look when it said it came out. But anyway, let's take a look. Okay, so we've got the same thing going again, where we got several games in one. Using probably Mario to sell, but Tetris is a really common game. So let's go see what Dr. Mario is. And this was a really fun game this time. I remember playing this against people, and you know, it's fun because you can set up huge, you know, lineups of, you know, stuff. I don't remember exactly how it plays, but is that right? Yeah. So anyway. This is a fun game. It's a good use of the IP. It's not anything too special. See, it's not a very difficult game either. But it's a very basic Tetris-y type of game. It was good use. They mixed it with Tetris to get the sales. And, you know, what did they use for it? I mean, Dr. Mario, you see how much portion of this has Mario in it? Almost none. Almost none. Look at him. He's just over there. He's like window dressing. So, I mean, this is kind of what happened with the Mario IP in general, right? Is that, they will throw on cosmetics. Earlier on, as we were looking, you could see that they were throwing on the cosmetics to just about anything. It could be just about anything, and you know, you want an edutainment game? Go ahead. We don't even think this thing's worth its fucking weight. So go ahead. You want it for edutainment? Fine. You know, only as time continued to, you know, pass did they say, wait a second, you know, this is our freaking cash cow. We're not allowed, you know, it's like Zelda. They realized it by then, you know, that they had like these cash cows, and so they said, no way we're going to, you know, allow you to take this. We're just not even going to pass it out at all for any reason. And that's kind of what's happened now. You know, Mario, I don't know. It doesn't seem like since N64 that you've seen too much of Mario. They have kept making the Super Mario Kart games. That can be said. But, you know, I think that this was a very good, you know, evolution in gaming series for the NES to SNES Marios. I think we showed all of them, and we showed the true raw game, which is NES. And then, you know, NES Super Mario 1, right? Super Mario Brothers 1. Then we showed the development of not being very quaky on their you know, investment in saying, well, we like what we've done with these characters, they're working, but is the game right? So they changed it in 2. And then they said, well, wait a second, people didn't like that. Let's go over to the original game. They made it the original game again, and just upgraded so many things about it. And then Super Mario World came, and they just upgraded even more. They made it so there was more branching paths, there was even more secrets, there was more things to collect, and different, you know, ways to beat levels, that it just became an entirely different game. And it's good for it. It really benefited from it. So, this is Anarchy704 signing out. I think that this was a wonderful evolution of gaming for Super Mario Brothers. You can like, comment, you can subscribe, of course. You go ahead and tell me whether or not I'm missing things, what it is that you'd actually like to see in one of these evolution of gaming series that's a little bit more than what maybe I provided. And hopefully I can do some of those things, you know, for you next time with some of the other evolution of gaming series that we plan on doing. So, Thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you next time.